Okay. Everyone. So glad you're here.
Yeah.
So it's 10:30. I really appreciate you being on the line. Thank you. So we have a really special guest, Dr. Lisa Kay. She's got a fun workshop planned for you, but I think first we're going to just have you introduce yourself and your major, and then we will have Lisa introduce herself and start the workshop. Okay?
Great. Yeah.
I'll start. My name is Ryan. I'm an art therapy major and a senior from Columbus, Ohio.
Hi, I'm Ellen. I'm an art education major with minors in museum studies and photography, and I'm also a senior at Cincinnati.
I'm Allie. I am a junior studio art major with an art therapy co-major and a neuroscience minor, and I'm from Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm Brooklyn, and I'm an art ed major, senior, and I'm from Dayton, Ohio.
Hi, I'm Hal. I'm an art education major with a theater minor, a senior, and I'm also from Cincinnati.
I'm Maisie. I graduated last December, but it was psychology. I'm from Baylor, Ohio.
I'm Mel. I'm an art ed, emerging technology, business and design, and ceramics major, and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
I'm Alana. I'm an art ed major, senior, I'm from Louisville.
I'm Bella. I'm a art ed, art therapy senior from Eaton.
I'm Maddie. I'm an art ed major, senior from Hamilton, Ohio. So,
That's near Cincinnati, right?
yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes down the road. So.
And then I'm Amy. I'm also a senior art education major, and I'm from North Dayton.
You guys are art therapy major, right? I got you.
Yeah.
You're busy. A lot of balls in the air. Yeah, really interesting backgrounds, interesting areas of study. Great.
Can I say one thing real quick before we start? So this is a very special thing. So you've very invited people to this. It's part of the endowment for the John and Betty Michael Autobiographical Distinguished Lecturer in Art Education series, which has been going on since 1972. So part of the endowment is to work with advanced art education students. And since this year's focus theme is wellness, we definitely wanted an art therapist for this particular year, and invited some very special art therapy co-majors as well. So all here.
Yeah, and this is where I live. This is my world between art therapy and art ed. So yeah, so I'm trying to weave some threads together, or just introduce some ideas today, and then those of you that are going to be there tonight, you'll get a broader picture of of my background and my story. So, welcome. You want anything more about me right now? Any more background? I'm a professor at Temple University. I chair the art education department, art therapy program. We now have a new master's program in art therapy that I developed. Yeah, I do a lot of things. A lot of things. Keeps me really busy, just like your professors here are really busy, right? Yeah. So, I believe you were sent on a chapter from a book that I read, or I wrote, and you read it, hopefully. If you haven't, you can circle back and read it after this. But this is just like something I've been thinking about a lot. I've done work with The Wizard of Oz, story and movie in my art therapy practice, also in my art education practice. One just fun fact, when I was presenting this at an art therapy conference years and years ago, I got home and I got a real letter, not an email, from a woman that said, "I'm sorry I missed you at the conference because I had developed this book, this journal called Osmosis, and it was based on the story of the Wizard of Oz, and my colleagues in music therapy and art therapy at a hospital where I worked developed this." And so this person says, "I'm so sorry I missed you. I really want to talk." And she introduced herself as L. Frank Baum's granddaughter. And she has worked with this story her whole life. I mean, she's lived it. And so we ended up the next year presenting at an art therapy conference, and we stayed in contact. But this is just something that I just think applies both to art ed and art therapy. As a matter of fact, in my class, I teach inclusive art education at Temple, and we talked about this chapter last week in class. So this little portion of it entitled Heart's Desire, a practice of coherence. And a little bit about our flow today. I'm going to give you just a little context, talk a little bit about heart, head, and hand, or hand, head, and heart. I kind of change it up in this. What I'm calling this practice of coherence. We're going to do a breathing exercise. I'm calling breathing through your heart. And then we're going to do some art making, Heart's Desire. And we'll come back together and we'll share a little bit, and then we'll open it up for questions. So I did a little digging on kind of these ideas of heart, head, and hand. And I found that in 1859, John Ruskin said this: fine art is that in which the hand, the head, and the heart of man, and I would add woman, and maybe all people, go together. And then in 2012, David Hockney, the artist, said you need the eye, the hand, and the heart. Two won't do. You've got to have this integration of all these parts. So this kind of leads in, we talk about this in art education. I imagine y'all talk about this too, is like integrating this holistic approach to learning, that you're bringing together cognitive understandings and ideas. There's a lot, Allie, about neuroscience and education as well in therapy, and kind of why does this make sense? Emotional connections, emotional engagement in the heart, and then with our hands, the making is this kinesthetic action or creation. So some of the work where this heart coherence comes from is Dr. Joe Dispenza, who has said the heart is your creative center, and it's what tells your brain to dream and make these leaps and connections. So the heart is where wholeness begins. It's where he talks about this experience is elevated, or with elevated emotions, and he calls this heart coherence. And I really, really connect with this, appreciate this. And like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, if we can activate our heart and tell our brains to imagine, we can go to a place where we can dream, we can visualize, and we can create our heart's desires. So bear with me here, I gotta do a little professor stuff. So what is this practice of coherence? We could also say praxis, we could say pedagogy of coherence. So practice and praxis is this idea or belief or method that forms or transforms the one who practices. That's all of us as teachers, as facilitators of therapeutic art, as future art therapists. But also there's this reciprocity, because there's a transformation that goes on with our students at the same time that we're transforming, and it happens in a therapeutic context as well. Coherence in Latin means stick together, create the sense of order, connectedness, consistency, wholeness. And so what we're going to do now is kind of what, if some of you are familiar with heart math or coherence breathing, it's how we synchronize our heart, our brain, our body into this optimal state. And after this, I'm going to talk a little bit about flow, because in psychology, there's this optimal flow state. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is to get into a comfortable position. Okay? If you can have your legs and arms uncrossed, it sort of encourages that flow. If you're crossed, you're kind of blocking flow in your body. If you're comfortable, I'm going to walk you through this, but if you're comfortable and you want to close your eyes while you're doing this, please feel free. But the first thing I want you to do is focus on your heart. Okay? And as you're focusing on your heart, I want you to imagine breathing in through your heart instead of your lungs. slowly and deeply, I'd like you to find the rhythm of your heart. And 5 counts in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5 counts out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what I'd like you to do is visualize a positive emotion. It might be joy, happiness, love, gratitude. You choose. What I'd like you to do now is just notice the inner feeling shift. And hold that with you. And you can open your eyes. And move on to a little bit of a discussion of flow. And then we're going to make some artwork. So some of you may have heard about finding flow or this workflow by Csikszentmihalyi, a Hungarian-American psychologist. And how he defines flow is a highly focused mental state that promotes creative engagement. This helps us move from beta to alpha brainwave state. And this is associated with relaxation, focus, and alertness. And I bring this up for several reasons. Those of you that are in schools doing observations or working with students know that there's a lot happening, right? And in order to move students to kind of this connected state, I think we need to help our students find flow. We need to find it too, and we can mirror that. Likewise, in the context of working with others and healing situations, helping people relax and be calm really helps facilitate them connecting with their flow state and their creative source. So, what we're going to do now is some art making. So what I want you to do is think about your heart's desires. It could be one, it could be multiple. And consider what you need most in the future, or want most. And so we've got a piece of cardboard in front of you, and we've got a lot of mixed media for you to work with. And feel free to create whatever your heart's desire is at this moment in time. And we're going to share as a group, and then just want to encourage you, if I forget to say this later, to keep this piece of artwork close to you, somewhere that you can see it. Post it in a special place to kind of help you remember this particular moment in time that you created this work. So we've got about, let's try to take about 25 minutes, and that would leave us about 20 minutes to have a discussion. Okay? All right. Okay, there's so many around the table, and you can feel free to grab whatever you want. This one?
Smush it out.
I feel like it's right for a second.
I want to thank the guests.
Yeah, I suppose. Cheers.
They're wonky.
Those artworks over there can also be used or ripped up.
Yeah, we just got those yesterday for the event that we had yesterday.
Oh, they are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you use it yourself?
I have like a small one, but it's a different brand. But
This one had the brushes look good.
They might be hard.
Yeah, I travel with mine all the time. I love it.
These are pretty.
I know, those.
This one didn't have purple.
I think it's okay that are like this after.
Oh, that was the best. I got, those are cute. I'm gonna have some on Amazon. Really, I have one that is black, and then I have different, but I like the colors. Okay, step right up. I've got the watercolors here. Who wants watercolors? Step right up.
I saw that.
I actually got an onion and yeah, and it went right
Get
to
the little show. Get the little.
yeah, and
Oh,
so
really?
I went to
Right.
Friday night,
You got
like
so
I
many
got
like big steps all stacking up right now.
yeah, it looks a lot worse
Been a
than
little
this because I had it wrapped in like a
Totally
waterproof
worth
wrap.
it.
But yeah, it was a fun way to spend my Friday night.
I'm not until it's on the right person. I can't right now.
Well, yeah.
I just
I'm
literally
Right.
The salad shade.
With
If it was a regular pizza, I would.
add what to the salad?
I have 14.
There's too much stuff over there.
No idea.
And it gold.
Right, literally.
Yeah.
If it was one, I'd be a lettuce.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, too much. Taking it to the hospital.
yeah, it's not. Well, and it was
I don't
funny
know if
because I was making dinner for me and my boyfriend do dinner with two of our friends, and my boyfriend and one of the friends used to work at a restaurant, and so they were both like, "You need to go to the hospital." That's like we've never seen a knife cut like that, and I was just like, "Okay."
Yeah, butterfly to get there.
Yeah, I couldn't even look at it because I looked at it and I thought I was gonna throw up, so I just wrapped it really tight.
And I'm thinking, oh, this big the scar is
Yeah.
It just reminded me
yeah,
of you.
when it got would gouge through it.
Ugh.
And the water was
Yeah.
just slow to the whole.
Well, it's like 10 seconds. I don't know if it is on purpose.
It was like running down my arms and onto the floor, and I just was like,
I
I'm
would have
gonna
done
throw
the
up.
Julia Child from Saturday Night Live. Have you ever seen Dan Aykroyd?
I don't think so.
Dan Aykroyd's Julia Child.
I will. Because she like chopped
Is
her
it
hair off.
actually, well, it actually happened, but not exactly the way he portrayed it.
Right.
A lot of people
Yeah.
It's like so
I see Wednesday.
Yeah, because we're only on two. Yeah, it's just. These are just. Are they?
Short.
I'm gonna make a house.
You are? That's so smart.
Now, how are you doing?
And I just I need a little. I'm not trying. I think it just has
Stress reduction.
This is not her head.
Yeah, I need to see it. I don't even have time to bother eating food. I've been eating the pantry special, I call it, which is canned green beans, canned black beans,
Is it?
and then like canned chicken.
I think
I
it's
was
like
like,
Dolly
Dolly
or
is
something.
something like
And,
where
you know,
it
it's
just.
actually playing the rest of
I didn't know if that was right.
There's what they call bowl
Yeah.
meal.
That is,
Where you have to make a bunch of either brown rice or,
Maybe
you
it
know,
feels brighter.
oh
yeah, I think so too.
And like I have chili
He's
tender, I'll put that in the air fryer.
Because
you can cut out like the little,
I think I've used this in a class class.
and here too.
Rice
And
and
when you were saying like your emotion or your, what was that one? Your art versus art maker or whatever.
Yeah.
What was that?
Educated versus artist.
Yes, that
Because I
one.
try to do so
It's cute.
I'm getting such a brown chicken. Just so I can see it. Sometimes even just like.
So, one thing that I'd like for you to do before we kind of start talking a little bit is give your piece a title. You can jot that on the back, or you can stick that in your mind. And what I want to do is take some time to talk about this process and any comment about your work, if you want to give us the title, a little subject of what it's about. we could take a full hour to talk about these in art education and in art therapy. I would do the same thing. I would have people write reflections, sentences, write stories, write haiku poems, any way to sort of get to the deeper meaning of what this is all about. Certainly if it was in a therapy context, we do a lot of deep processing, and that's certainly not what we're doing here today, but I'm really kind of eager to hear your titles and a little bit about what it was like doing this, and maybe how you think you could apply this in your own practice. So another way that I often work is I let the group or the class kind of decide the order we're going to kind of go in. So sometimes, that's why I wanted you to everyone to see each other's work. We can put them a little bit closer in the middle. And just, where is our eye drawn? Where do we want to start? What catches your attention?
I'm drawn to like the two blue ones that are like talking to each other across the circle.
The blues?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Is that the sparkling,
The gold one? Alright. Well, how about if Ryan, was that yours?
Yeah.
And yours as well? And then we'll go with Hal's, and then we'll let Ryan and Mel and Hal pick 3 other people. And like I said, we've got 15 minutes, so we're not going to be able to say a lot, but I'd love to be able to get around and for everybody to say something. Okay. Ryan, you want to begin?
I'll start, yeah. So the kind of art I like to make is cyanotype, which is like a chemical way of making images, and all the images have like a notable food color. And I realized, like now that I'm student teaching and kind of away from like the studio here at Miami, I still want to like create things, and I haven't had as much time to do that. So that's kind of what my work desires to create. And a lot of the subject matter I make is like of birds, horses, and bodies. So I wanted to include that all in my piece.
Mel, before you go on, I just wanted to add, this is a process that I have student teachers and pre-service art therapy students do when they're doing field work. They're 4 by 6. They're a little bit smaller than this. They're required to do them every week to reflect and respond to what they're doing. But deeper than, well, not deeper, in addition to that, it's a way to stay connected to your artist self because you're so busy, you've got so much going on, and we often forget to do that. And the other, we took about 25 minutes to do these. You could take 5 minutes to do a quick piece of artwork and reflect about it. So I just wanted to make that suggestion, excuse me. No.
Yeah, so my piece, I do ceramics, and ceramics is my most favorite thing in the whole world. So whenever I have to do something two-dimensional, I just like think about ceramics and how can I abstractly involve that somehow. And I love that clay is like very connected to nature, and I love being outside. And I desire being outside, especially because the weather's getting nicer. So, and the beach is my favorite place. So I was like abstract, globular shapes to be like clay related, and then like obviously the beach. Great, fun, bright colors.
Thank you.
This one's mine. I like sparkly, shiny things. I want the world to be just bright and sparkly and optimistic. Whether that comes from like within, out, or out in, either way. I think that's important to be positive and bright, even when things are looking dull and dim.
Really to that. All right, so Ryan and Mel and Hal, will you pick 3 that you're drawn to, and we'll have that trio speak.
Ellen, I like yours.
Okay.
That was the one I was going to
I was also gonna okay.
I'll pick colors.
Okay.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. This is mine, and when we were doing like the heart breathing and you had us think of an emotion, I thought of joy. And there's this new album by this artist that I love that just came out, Ray. If you guys know her, Where's My Husband, that song. She just released an album, and she has a song on it called Joy. And the first time I listened just started crying because I had never heard a song that like connected to me so much and like I needed so much in that moment. And so I feel like I've been very burnt out recently. And she sings about my joy comes in the morning and I declare. So I titled it I Declare. But just the idea that like every day is a new day and you can have a fresh start and like every day is a chance to build upon the last day. And I think that's a message I really need to take right now. So I made some art.
Who's a hero?
Sure.
Order.
Mine's also about joy. And I think when you were talking about like picturing kind of an emotion or moment, I was thinking about the last time I like laughed really hard with my roommates, which was thankfully not that long ago. But I think I've been thinking a lot about joy as a more persistent and lasting experience. Like I can't always be laughing with my roommates, but I can like hold that within and also like emanate to others even when I'm not happy or when things are like kind of not great. I have been thinking about how like joy exists beyond like my everyday emotions kind of. So, that's what this was about.
Mine, I'm still working Bible, but at nature and whimsy is kind of where I was coming from, just embracing like my inner self in a way. I've always kind of tried to hide that, and I feel like now as an educator it's so important to be yourself so students can see that. And I found that in my student teaching placement, like I was trying to fit in with my host teacher rather than being who I really am. So in the last week, that's kind of what I've been trying to do, and this piece is kind of about that, and then also connecting with nature.
What do you think? Sure.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Okay, Brooklyn and Ellen. You pick.
I like Amy's.
I like Bella's.
Wow.
I guess I was thinking a lot about just like peace, and so I saw like this watercolor impressionist like abstract teacher scene, and I kind of just wanted to like take what was already like a perfect thing and put kind of something not as perfect on top, but just like in the moment creating, not worrying about like making it. It's only like 20 minutes, so like don't even think about it, just do it. I guess I could try like that nicely. Just do it. Yeah, that's fun. But yeah, that was kind of my thought process. Mine, I guess it's called like a happy home. I kind of went based off of like what you need most in the future, and I was just thinking about like with me and my brother, I just want like a house for us that just exudes happiness and love all the time, which might not always happen, but because sometimes we argue, but this is just what I want for our future to stay positive. And yeah. But mine when I was teaching it, my main thought was how much growth I've had in the past years since I was in school. I feel like my life has changed a lot to the plate, and that was the main thing I was thinking about how much I've grown in the past 4 years.
All right. We're going around. This for three.
So mine, I was needing experimenting, or I just needed experimenting like in like different mediums and stuff, and so I guess I was there like based off like my desire for the future, which is experimenting more and growing my art skills.
I'm calling mine self-growth, and I think that's just kind of at the point where I'm not at school right now, and I'm just at home working, and I'm trying to find every moment I can to enjoy where I'm at and taking care of myself and doing things that I enjoy, but I'm also looking forward to the future knowing I'm going to school, and I really like nature and green, so I did a lot of those other things as well. I'm excited to travel and do new things, so.
These are amazing. That's wonderful. Because I was seeing her just all the posters and cards and things you can put up in places. Carry with you. I just wanted to take the last few minutes that we have to open it up for just general comments, questions about the process, how you might want to apply it in your own practice. And then we'll have lunch after that. And we can continue having conversations at lunch.
Have you ever done this process with younger students, and do you structure it differently with younger kids? Because I know, like, in my student teaching experience, it's like can be very challenging when you give a student a really open-ended prompt for them to be like, I don't know what to do. So I'm just curious if you're
I've certainly done something similar. And yeah, if you're an art teacher and you've got other standards that you're trying to meet and other objectives, and depending on the age, you do have to break it down. And you'd also have more than 20 minutes, right? So you'd have more time. Think about materials. Maybe you wouldn't want free choice of materials and structure. When I first started doing this, I had an opportunity on the 100th anniversary of the book, The Wonderful World of Oz, and when my colleague, Ida Morena, who's L. Frank Baum's granddaughter, came and spoke. We started doing workshops, and I did one every month for 9 months at the library. And that was one of the challenges, because I had kind of all the props in a short amount of time, and I could have a 4-year-old, or I might have a 16-year-old, and I have to adapt the project or assignment. And you can do that. For example, for the Heart's Desire, I had either options, like DVD boxes I had saved, or cut out hearts out of cardboard, and they would embellish and create their Heart's Desire action that way. And I'll never forget this one 4-year-old just took yarn and just kept wrapping and wrapping until she had this stuff out, while her sibling, who was older, got into much more detail and symbolic meanings of their Heart's Desire. So yeah, good question. You just have to adapt. Size, materials, yeah.
This question's kind of along the same vein, but like, I guess it's also a two-parter. But do you find that like a prompt, like, I think a lot of people in this room spend a lot of time being creative and introspective and thinking about themselves and their art. Like that's just kind of part of being a student in arts. But I think like if you have like a newer client and you said like create your Heart's Desire, like do you find that people are sometimes intimidated by that, or they're seeking out art therapy because that's the type of thing they like to do? And I guess like whatever the case, like would you start with a new client with something this open or this introspective, or would you start more something?
Okay, well, if I was starting with a new client, I would do an assessment.
Well, yeah.
Okay. And then I kind of get to know what materials they feel comfortable with. And we start probably getting things that were more structured, and then the things that were more open. Yes.
This is more of like a common like group making thing.
It could be group, it could be individual. Yeah. And you have to know, just like knowing your students, you know, sometimes certain materials, we were talking about that last night, like certain materials you might not use, they're too fluid. And then you might need things more concrete and structured. Others you might want to get out of your head and really play and free up and be more spontaneous, so you might do them online.
Yeah, it does.
I think most of us did like a positive connotation, but have you ever had like clients or students do like negative, like oh my heart's broken or it's dark and it's empty and that sort of thing? And how do you handle that?
Well, it's not easy, but just the fact that it's created and they share it with you, you're a witness to it, and acknowledging that, whether again, you're an art teacher or you're a therapist, you want to let them know that you value their expression and you feel and understand around you and make you feel free and safe to be able to express things in the art room, and sometimes things come out that it can be kind of scary and frightening. But if you can just metaphorically hold the space, even if you're sitting together in silence, that must be really painful. And recognizing that is really important. That we deal with that all the time in a therapy context, but I see it also in the art education classroom. And your role as an art educator is not as a therapist, so there are, and we'll talk a little bit about this tonight, but there are boundaries between the disciplines. And yet, you're human, right? And we all have these kinds of emotions, and acknowledging that. And then there may be a situation, depending what's revealed, that you need to talk to your supervisor or your assistant principal. Or you may have to report something that comes out, as a mandated report. So it's difficult, it really is. But I do find that the artwork offers a container, actually a boundary, a border that can hold whatever the emotions are. And sometimes that's enough to just get it out on paper to create. Another question or comment, like I said, the statement, and everyone. Did you have something like that?
Maybe deviating from this, but you talked about like this collaboration you have at Center House and a lot of other collaborations that you're proud of in your career.
Lots of them. The research, this is a really nice segue, because the research that went into therapeutic approaches in art education, which we're going to do a little
I'll
drawing.
pass it around so you can like look through it.
This was an amazing collaboration, because as a researcher, I had an opportunity to work with an art teacher and an art therapist in a school, or in a treatment center that had a school. Kids that were in foster care attended the school, and so they went to art class, they had all kinds of counseling there. But I came in as a researcher, and I worked out this, I'll call it a curricular framework. It's not, in the back of it, they're not lesson plans, but there's a framework that kind of emerged out of that collaboration. And doing research can be a solitary and lonely experience. So being able to work not only with colleagues, but also I worked with adolescent girls, and they were part of the research process, and so that was a collaboration that I'm really proud of. Yeah. And they all don't end up with a publication like that. This one did. Yeah. Great.
I want to look at your art because I see it.
Well, we can
maybe put your art on that table and take pictures of it. How much so it doesn't get Chipotle on it.
Yeah. That's much better.